Back on MorningLine, talking immigration. Supreme Court decision last week on an immigration policy from the administration, the Obama administration, that now is going to remain on hold, an injunction which doesn't provide at least some relief for some here from deportation. So that's still on the books, and the deportation's continuing. Eben Cathy's with us with the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition. Lots of calls on this, as I would suspect, whenever we talk about this, and good comments. Let's go to Ron. Ron, go ahead. Hi, Ron.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir. Go ahead.
I'd just like to address people that are pro-illegal immigration. I applaud their generosity. What I don't applaud is them asking people in this country to ask people that are struggling in this country to pay for an illegal action. I don't see the gentleman sitting there emptying his pocket and really showing the example he should before he asks other people that don't have money to fund an illegal action. That is un-American.
How is, I'm not sure, you've heard a lot of the critiques before. What illegal action is you think, referring to be funded?
Yeah, I think the first piece is, I am an advocate for fixing our immigration policies, right? For having an immigration system that works so it can work for an immigrant, so it can work for the caller who just called in, so it can work for our nation, so it can work for our economy. That's the point. The point is fixing our immigration system. The second point is, I don't think anybody's asking anybody to pay for anybody. Again, like we said before, people who are undocumented, who don't have a social security number, do not have any rights to any benefits. They make their way in the world by working and taking care of their families, and frankly are oftentimes vulnerable. Another part of the reason why the program DAPA would be so powerful is that if folks were on the books, if they had a work permit, they would be able to, they would be safe from unscrupulous employers who try to take advantage of them. And that's good for their wages. That's good for everybody's wages. That raises wages across the board. And that's why the projections for this program in terms of benefits to an increased tax base, rising wages for the millions of people who are eligible and who would potentially get DAPA, that's why the numbers go up. That's why it helps our economy. If you look at the numbers for immigration reform, if we gave folks who are here and they're working hard and have a clean criminal background a way to get on the books, I forget the projections, but it's billions and billions of extra dollars a year in taxes and in raising salaries. So reforming our immigration system is the way forward for our nation. And again, the Supreme Court case is important. It gives people a deferral from deportation right now, but only Congress can fix our immigration policies. And if you're frustrated with our immigration system, if you're frustrated with problems that you perceive are happening, focus on your congressperson. Say, hey, we need to fix our immigration policies. Do something that works. People who are here who are contributing, give them a way to keep doing that. Give people a way who want to come here and who want to work hard and they want opportunity. Give them a way to do that.
Well, and a lot of people, though, are also going to say, and let's face it, Donald Trump is getting a lot of mileage, of course, from his wall thing. A lot of people are going to say we want Congress to take steps to make sure that people stop coming in unfettered. Okay, there's a bunch here already, and we're dealing with that, but we need to stop the flow.
Yeah, for the record, net migration, which is people coming and people going across the border, Mexico and the United States, is close to zero.
Is that right now?
It's almost as low as it's ever been.
I do think that's true. I mean, as far as it's low as it's ever been. Not as many come, in part probably because they recognize, some of these movements that are happening here in this country right now, and they don't want to come as they once did. So some people may like that. Let's go to Buddy. Hi, Buddy.
Hello, Nick. How you doing, buddy?
Good, buddy. What's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to say I sort of disagree with your guest there. What to do? As you know, I'm a Native American. I'm from Arizona, and I have seen thousands of those immigrants come across the border illegally in just about every month down there. They have a big problem with it in Arizona, with the legal immigrants coming in. And as far as the documented refugees come in, I worked at a place where the affirmative action, they had to hire these refugees that came in here. And I talked to him personally, and he showed me a check for $470, and he was getting some SSI, and said he didn't have to pay any income tax for 7 years on what he worked and made, and he's making like $13 an hour there where he was working at. I don't feel like these people should come on these refugees and stuff and work and make money in this country and not have to pay income tax on it like everybody else.
Do we need to make a distinction between refugees and undocumented workers?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I want to say that I'm not familiar with the policies in Arizona. I will say that fixing our immigration system has to be done at the national level, and states shouldn't have to bear the burden of a broken immigration system. It's incumbent upon our federal government to make policies that work for every state. Okay. Now, your question about different kinds of immigration status. Immigration status, for one, in terms of documentation, is very fluid. Some people fall in and out of status. Some people are legal permanent residents, where they're on the path to citizenship. People who are legal permanent residents can become citizens. Other folks are here on a work visa. They're only allowed to work. The DAPA program, which is on hold, is not even an immigration status. It's more like a limbo period for somebody who's here without documentation to be able to work and to not be targeted for deportation. So there are many different levels of immigration status, which again, we have a very bureaucratic, complicated system, and it can be hard to understand. Refugees come from different countries, and when they come here, they are given legal permanent resident status. About 1% of refugees around the world actually end up going to a country. The United States is one of dozens of nations across the world that accept refugees. In Nashville, we have a large Kurdish population who came during the Iraq War when Saddam Hussein was gassing Kurds, killing a lot of his own people in his country. Kurdish people are contributing members of our Nashville society. They make Nashville more vibrant. Many of them are doctors and lawyers, and frankly have integrated in a way where they're a community that still has its own cultural identity, but they are an important part of Nashville. And that refugee resettlement program we've had for many, many decades, and it began with, I think, Cuban refugees to Nashville. I think that's the first group that we accepted. So the refugee resettlement program is a long-standing part of our immigration system that for many years has helped a lot of people flee violence and persecution around the world.
Well, and I wish we had more time because there's so many people with good comments on this today, but based on some of the comments, as you've heard, and it goes back and forth, but a lot of these decisions come down, and it's politically motivated one way or the other. We'll see what happens at the Supreme Court level. But you recognize in this country still it remains an important campaign issue, and there are still a lot of strong emotions and a lot of convincing that has to be done for a lot of folks, whether or not ideas like that is a good one. It is, and you know that. You deal with it every day. I know where you come from on the side, but you hear a lot of these folks still, I think, that feel otherwise are going to need convincing in this country. I don't know what the breakdown is, but to get the facts and the information out to everyone, it's still very divided.
And absolutely, but I sincerely believe, and I think when somebody knows someone who's in this situation, their point of view changes. But people who are here and who have children here and deep ties to a community need a way to be able to stay. If they have a clean criminal background, they're working hard, they want to contribute, they deserve a way to stay in this country, to continue contributing, to find a way to stay with their kids. I think that if we're finding ways for folks who meet that criteria to stay here, we're doing ourselves a favor, and we're also doing that family a favor. I think it's not a favor, it's something that we need to do in order to have a stronger nation.
And you believe it benefits everyone.
I absolutely believe it. I think the numbers show that. I think if you look at what these programs would do for the economy, whether it's immigration reform or it's DAPA, they tremendously boost our economy. We have an aging population. A part of our economic engine has always been immigration. I think that we need an immigration system that works to stay strong.
Eben, as always, thank you for coming on. Thanks, and as one of our other callers said, legal, illegal, did the president overstep his bounds? Courts will decide, at least on this fact at this point, and we'll see. And then when we have a ninth justice, it may eventually, whatever happens at the lower court, ultimately, the decision from the president end up before the Supreme Court. Who knows? We'll see. The courts may decide this if Congress doesn't. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Take a break. programming note right after this with all these calls we weren't able to get to, and I apologize for that. Not enough time in the show, but we'll do it again. We'll be right back.